Okay, so we're back. So, the T.B.Photo H125 ZX, and welcome back to another part of this little, what should we call it? This little adventure where we're gonna go back to basics when it comes to how to take a little bit of ad photographies. And as a subject for this, it's my old Carl Zeiss Icon series camera. This is a 120 film camera. And at the moment it's empty, and we're gonna have it as our makeshift subject now. I'm just gonna place it here just before where the slope begins on the backdrop. Here we have these two set at what is it now? I'm gonna put them at incandescent light bulb mode. I can also put them, you know, on just regular light, so now they're just emitting white light, but for some reason, since a camera still works with the, you know, the white balance feature that 18% about is considered white, I think this actually gives you a little bit better, you know, performance. But you can also try, what the heck, we're gonna give it a try with white light, because we want to take this subject here, and as you can see, we have our two cameras. We also have the little Panasonic setup over here, and we'll see what we can do if we are gonna put it at a better vantage point, so you can see me making a total fool of myself. Yeah, I think this will be, you know, I can see on my cell phone where this is pointing at, but anyway, this is what we're going for. And the first thing I'm going to do is to turn on this little spotlight as well. Maybe move that up a bit closer. As you might want to see on the on this Icon series Zeiss, you actually have here on the edge, you have the Zeiss logo. So I want to illuminate that a little bit, and at the same time I'm going to bring this down and you know, give it a little bit indirect light. So I'm not just, you know, pulling all the light to it, but a little bit from the side to be able to illuminate it in that aspect. And the same goes with this one. I might do that something like that. And we're not going to use this little extra light for now, so I'm just going to put that off to the side. And yeah, we'll just see what we get. Well, the settings for the moment, I'm actually using ISO 1600, 100th of a second, and f4.5 actually. So let's see what we can do. Okay, do a little bit of shimping as it's so nicely cold. Well, as I can see right off the bat is that 4.5 f-stop 4.5 is not adequate enough for what our needs are, so I need to put that up to, let's go up to 7.1 and let's see. Well, we have a little bit better actually, but I think it's a little bit on where on the camera I'm actually now gonna make focus on the hinge mechanism right here and see if that will help us with anything. So we're still 1/80th of a second at 1600 ISO and 7.1 in aperture. So let's see what we can do. Well, we're almost there, because as I can see now, most of the part in front here at the lens of the camera is great sharp in focus, and the Zeiss icon logo is also, but the the advancing wheel here for advancing the film, that's still a little bit unsharp. So we're going to try to go up to f8, and f8 is basically that magical number where supposedly everything is supposed to be in focus. So let's have a go again. I'm doing the same. I'm focusing on the hinge part, and there we go. Well, it looks like it's true that f8 is basically the aperture setting where everything in the picture is basically in focus. So I think that we have the picture. It might not be the most interesting photo in the world. Actually, what we're going to do is now we're going to implement the rule of thirds. So now we know what settings we want on the camera to do an interesting photograph. So we're now at 1/80th of a second, ISO 1600 and f8. But instead now of having instead of having the subject smack dab in the middle, I'm actually gonna put it off center and put it off to the left side of the frame. So still pull focus. There we go. And directly much better. Now also the camera shows us that we have a little bit of a blown out spots and so on. But here we also have the thing that we have a beige background and a black and silver subject. So what we have here is basically something that will reflect a lot of light, the silver part of the camera. We have the black, which will absorb almost all types of lights, the black, and the beige background. And the camera has to do white balance on what is what on all of these. But that's things that we nowadays can do in post-processing to get it where we want it. So I'm going to do another one where I put the camera off. No, it won't really work to put the camera off to the right side, depending on the attitude, the twist of the camera. It's pointing off in that direction towards the sink. So it wouldn't make sense to put it off on the right side of the frame. But we'll see what we can do if I'm gonna pull myself a little bit to the left side of the kitchen counter, so I'm not squared off to the backdrop as well. So the backdrop, in this aspect, the backdrop is completely flat while in plane with the camera. They're parallel to each other. Now I'm off to the side and they're not, in the sync with each other as such. And we're gonna do the same thing. Pull focus, put it off to the side. There we go. And I think we even now have a little bit of a more interesting photograph. Oh yes. The non-linear, when breaking up lines, in my opinion, by being here instead of here. I'm actually going to do, this might not work, but we're going to take a little bit of a gamble. Well, basically this might work. I'm just going to show you now with this action cam what my philosophy is. If we take a look at the subject up here, the camera is off at an angle compared to the backdrop. But now when we look at the camera itself here, this is the position I've been shooting in from the beginning. And then you see it's right, at a right angle to the backdrop. But if I put it out here at the side, as you probably can see, I have it's off-center to the backdrop, and it's also off-center with the subject in question. So this is a little bit of experimentation that you have to do. But in my opinion, I think this is a little bit of the fun with photography. Instead of having a direct, right angles to each other, this from the side will actually make it a little bit more interesting to break it up with the backdrop. So, all in all, this has been a bit of an experimental video about photographing and what you can achieve with a low budget setup and so on. So I think that's all for now, and this is Tobias Bergström from T.B.Photo H1.5 GFX, and I would like to see you guys in the next video. And as apparently you should say on YouTube, please like, share, comment and subscribe. So take care for now, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.